policies. Since the 1st July 2016, we have a new organigram, a new structure, and a new name. So some of you know us as IPTS. We are not IPTS anymore. No, we are under the name of GRC, and we are the Directorate for Innovation and Growth, and we are the unit B4 on human capital and employment. It will be our duty for the next years, working more focusedly on human capital and employment. Our work is being done by a team of education and skills, where we have around 80 publications that everybody can download, and we are working mostly for 2 Directorate Generals of the European Commission, that is the one on education, EAC, and jobs. I'm going to explain a little bit about the relevance of the digital competence for the in the European policy. So the digital competence starts to be a key competence for in the European Commission and for the member states in the publication in 2006 of the Parliament and the Council, where they recognize among the 8 key competence the digital competence. In April 2016, our Commissioner Tibona Vraksik highlighted the relevance of having the right skills in a digital economy in order to drive innovation, growth and jobs. And indeed, our Commissioner for Employment talked about in the same event in April 2016 about the 90% of the jobs require some kind of digital skills. But when we look at the data, we can see that around half of the population of the workforce in the member state has no or low digital skills. Indeed, when we look at the digital skills index that is published by the European Commission, the last data in 2016, we can see that the 45% of the EU population has an insufficient level of digital skills. And if we look per member state, we can see that 17 of the 28 member states have much more than this percentage with low or no digital skills. Indeed, 21% of all the EU population has no digital skills. 26% of the EU population has never used basic software tools for manipulate text, data, photos or videos, and also regarding more on security and maybe not in order related with information and other kind of competence, but with the one related with safety, the 35% don't know that cookies can be used to trace their online movement. The digital skills are relevant because they also can help us in order to have a better employability. So citizens with a digital competence can get much more employed, and it's also very relevant in order to address the technological change in different public services in systems. In fact, we have seen that this low level of digital skill can be a barrier in order to implement different kind of services by professionals in health and social care services. If we continue, we know that the 40% of the European companies. Can you hear me? I think that somebody has a problem. Well, I continue. The last data say also that the 40% of the European companies, they don't find people with the right skills in order to be hired. And they are connected mostly in order to have people with transversal skills, which digital skills is one of the main transversal skills, together with entrepreneurship, leadership, etc. A publication, recent data by the OECD in 2014 they found also that the 40% of the population of the EU think that they didn't have the sufficient computer skills in order to find a new job. And in a very recent study we did here at the GRC, in relation with digital skills and MOOCs, we can see that digital competence plays a key role in the intensity of participation in MOOCs. Indeed, in the graph, we can see how the better participant digital competence was, the more they were involved or following MOOCs. Indeed, in 2016, so some months ago, in April, there was a publication of a communication by the European Commission called Digitizing European Industry, where they highlight the relevance of having human capital ready for the digital transformation with the necessary skills. And there they highlight that we need, in order to face the changing nature of the work and the labor market due to the digital transformation, people need much more skills, transversal skills mostly, digital skills and competencies, together with leadership, entrepreneurial and engineering skills. What they raise in this communication is that nowadays these transversal skills and the mix of these different skills are not being fully addressed by the education and training system. Another policy point very relevant, together with this communication published in April 2016 regarding the industry, we have also the one published by the Commission in June in relationship with the New Skills Agenda. That was presented by our Commissioner Marianne Thyssen, where they highlight the relevance of digital skills. Indeed, during this event, they asked to the people if they had 100,000 euros to invest in skills, which one they would invest. And we can see that digital skills is among like the third one in receiving this investment, with a 23% of people investing in this kind of skills. Indeed, in this agenda, the skill agenda is improving and try to improve digital skills through different kind of activities, through the skill grantee, the key competence framework, trying to revise this framework that of 2006 that I presented at the beginning, and also on the through the correlation on digital skills and jobs. And they state that for a common understanding of what we understand by digital skills and digital competence, DigComp, the digital competence framework I'm going to present, will help to reach this common understanding and to understand what we say when we try to establish which are the digital competence for citizens, which one they should be to get the work or to be included in the society and to function in the best way with different kind of digital technologies. So I'm going to present now the digital competence framework, DigComp. I'm going to refer now along the presentation as DigComp because it's how people know it mostly. This framework was developed on behalf of DG Employment. It's been, we are going to see now, it's been now much more developed, trying to establish also different kind of levels of proficiency. And you can have, I'm going to give more details now, but just for you to know that I put just a link here in the presentation. I think that maybe I can send it to Gabriela after my presentation, after the webinar, and she can send to all of you, so you can have access to all the information about in the following week, the link, about the framework, about the implementation with all the different examples, because we also try that the web page we have with all the information about the framework can also help you in order to have all the different kind of organization in order to use it, to implement it, to expand it, and to use it in their organization or region, etc. So we start in 2010 with our studies about digital competence, because the aim was to try to identify and describe the main components of the digital competence in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. We would like to have something quite complete, quite scientific, and also share and validate by the different stakeholders that are involved in the implementation, the creation, the design, etc. of digital competence. The aim was to have a common understanding, to provide a reference framework and a tool that could be implemented, help to evaluate the different kind of competence and support curriculum development, teacher competences, provide some kind of certification and also assessment or self-assessment. The first framework was developed through a methodology with a mapping, concept mapping with 69 references, different case studies, online consultation, different kind of expert workshop, and stakeholder consultation in order to reach a validated proposal. So it includes a very intense work in order to have a validated framework that could bring all the different ideas, application, implementation on the different stakeholders. The framework was published in 2013 as a framework. Is what we call the first version, because this year we have just updated the version and we have the version 2.0 that I'm going to explain also now. And in it, in DigComp, we define that being digitally competent means using different digital technologies in a confident and safe way for different kind of purposes. We need to remember that it's a framework for citizens, not targeted to professionals, so it's in order to use the digital technologies to carry out the activities of our daily lives. So it's to work, to try to get a job, to learn, to shopping online, to obtain different kind of information online, also to be entertained or to participate and to be active in society. The framework DigComp is composed by two parts. We have what we call the conceptual reference model that is composed by two dimensions, that is dimension 1, that is the competence area, and we have 5 areas of competence area in the framework, and we have dimension 2 with the competence that are pertinent to each area. We have 21 competencies in 5 distributed not equally, because we have more competencies per area, but these 21 competencies are distributed in 5 competence areas. And this is the conceptual reference model, and it's what we have already updated. And we have what we call all the framework that include dimension 3, 4, and 5. In 3, we have the proficiency levels expected in each competence. In dimension 4, we have different kind of examples in knowledge, skills, and attitude. And in dimension 5, we have different kind of examples to understand the applicability of the competence for different purposes. In the first version, we have, or in version 1.0, as we call, we have in dimension 3 proficiency levels, we have 3 proficiency levels, that now in the update we are going to have 8 proficiency level, and it's currently at the stage of validation in which you can participate also if you would like, and I will give you more information about that now. So this is the first DigComp, the version 1.0, so the one that was published in 2013. You have on the left side, you have the 5 competence area: information, communication, content creation, safety, and problem solving. And on the right side, you have the different competences that belong to the competence area. You can see that they are not representing an increase in difficulty or proficiency level. So each of them, they are independent and belonging to their competence area, and they have all the number of the competence area. So 1 information, and we had 1.1 browsing, searching, and filtering information, and the same in 2. We have 2.4 that is belong to competence area 2, collaborating through digital channels. I'm going to give a little bit more details with the version 2.0 because we have done some change. You will see some change in the name. Maybe the updating we have done has been mostly focused on changing the vocabulary. For example, information, we have changes, but I'm going to explain it a little bit more now. So what I was saying just now, that from 2015 and this year, 2016, we are doing an update of DigComp 1.0 of all the framework, the one that was published in 2013. And we are doing the update in 2 phases. The first phase, we are updating the conceptual reference model. That is dimension 1 and dimension 2. So what I said about dimension 1 are the 5 competence areas, and dimension 2 are the competences that are 21 that have a title and a description. We have not changed this, so they are still the same than before, 5 areas and 21 competences. And in the second phase, we are updating the rest of the framework, what is called the framework, together with the conceptual reference model, that is dimension 3 and dimension 4. We are updating dimension 3, the proficiency levels for each competence. Before, in 2013, there were 3 proficiency levels, and now we are trying to turn them in 8 proficiency levels, and we have dimension 4 with examples of the knowledge, skills, and attitudes applicable to each competence. And this is the work that is in progress now. So what are the changes we have done in DigComp 2.0 with the update? As I said, all the 5 areas remain the same, more or less. So we have still 5 competence areas. We have still 21 competences. What we have changed more, they are updating the name of some areas and some competences and their definition. So all 21 competences will remain also more or less the same, but we update the vocabulary in the sense that, for example, instead of using online or use of ICT, we have tried to use a term that is more global, such as digital environment. So it's not necessary in this case to name a specific technology or tool. We have also tried to adapt to the changes due to the digital transformation. So in technology, things are going quite quick, and for example, now it's much more common to use cloud-based storage to store data and digital content. So we have update and use more this kind of words, and we have also revised in order to trying to avoid some kind of redundancy. And we are also including 8 proficiency levels instead of 3 proficiency levels, trying to describe them as knowledge, skills, and attitude, and in terms of learning outcomes. So the DigComp 2.0 update in the phase 1. So it's the update of the reference, conceptual reference model, the update of the competence area, and the 21 competence. It was published in June 2016. You have also the link here where you can access and download the document, where you have the explanation about the update, what we have done, which are the specific changes we have carried out and why, and you have also explanation about the implementation of with all the experience we have with the implementation of the framework. So as you can see in this slide, we have the update. We have made some changes. So you can see, for example, in version 1.0, the first competence area was information. In 2.0, we have had information and data literacy. You can see it. The words that are in italics are what we have had. Communication now, we try to include a little bit more about collaboration too, so it's communication and collaboration. Content creation, we have digital content creation in order to give also this meaning of working with digital technology and digital content. And safety and problem solving area, competence area 4 and 5 are remaining the same. When we see these competencies, we can see that they are all interrelated, so we cannot see like separated. And for example, areas like problem solving, they are also transversal. So it's like an artificial division of what we understand by digital competence, but it works quite well in this sense. So here you can see the competence areas and their competencies. In the framework, when it's explained, we have, so the competences define the competence area, and each competence has its own definition. So you can see in the first one, information and data literacy. 1.1, we know that it belongs to the first competence area. It's browsing, searching, and filtering data, information, and digital content. And I didn't provide here the definition of each of them, but we have, for example, in the framework, you can see the specific definition of each of them. In this case, for example, is to articulate information needs, to search for data, information, and content in digital environments, to access them, and to navigate between them, to create and update personal search strategies. So each of the competences have their own definition. In this sense, it's also very relevant to understand that this framework is descriptive. So we don't try to be prescriptive and to be more detailed in the sense that it should work as a reference framework for everybody. And when the organization is implementing the competence framework, is when they can provide more detail, try to be much more prescriptive with the framework in the implementation, in the application, and in connection also with the kind of implementation. It is for teacher development or for the digital strategy of the region, etc. So this is for what I just explained, the update of phase 1. We are now doing the update of phase 2, that is updating the proficiency levels and connected also with the examples of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Well, the update of DigComp of the phase 2 of the proficiency levels, that we aim to develop 8 levels of learning outcomes for each competence. For each competence we have seen before, so for the 21 competence. And we have developed it in terms of learning outcomes. We just finished it around at the beginning of September, and we launched an online validation with the different stakeholders that we have opened until Monday, the 3rd of October. And you have here the link, and you are very, very welcome if you have not done it yet to participate, because it's very important also your feedback in order to have the best results and the most useful results, because these 8 levels are very useful in order to develop different kind of learning materials, or to develop assessment tools in order to evaluate for different posts, for example, or for student assessment, or for career guidance, in order to evaluate the level of the digital competence of a certain person. In order for you to have an idea, but if you participate in the survey, you are going to see, but for you to understand, you have here in this slide an example of the 8 levels of the first competence. And we have passed from 3 levels of competence to an 8 level of competence. And the detail of the different competence has been done based on learning outcomes, using the Bloom taxonomy in order to define and to use the verbs more useful for the different levels and for the progression, and also using different kind of keywords that has been imbibed by the European qualification framework. So you can see, for example, in the 3rd row, what I have highlighted with this circle, red circle, you have different kind of autonomy. In the first one, at basic level and guide, I can do different kind of stuff. If you look at level 5, you have including the support to others, I can do different stuff, and always connected with different words that can give you an idea about the progression. For example, the first level, I can do something at basic level, and I need to be guided in order to identify which are my information needs. And when we go to level 6, when we say at advanced level and add it to my own needs, those of other and the complexity of the context, I can assess my information needs. So we have a mix of different keywords, level of autonomy, and words that can give us this progression. As I said, this is still work in progress and now under validation, so it's not work done. We have a calendar of validation. So we launched the 12th of September, we launched the open consultation and with some emails invitation. We would like to end on the 26th, but we extend a little bit to the 3rd October. the validation survey. And in October, what we are going to do is to analyze the data and the feedback in order to publish, to have in November, to address the different changes we need to do according to the feedback. And in order to have at the first week of December a validate version of the 8th officiality level that will give us an update version and complete version of DigComp 2.0. So together with the reference model and the rest of so dimension 1 and 2 that is already done, and the rest of the dimension. I just want to show a little bit how it's the survey. So if you want to participate, you just need to select one competence area for validation, so you don't need to validate all the competence areas. But if you wish, you can also reply again to the survey, selecting another competence area. But it is a lot of information. We prefer to do it like this in order to ensure at least some kind of evaluation, validation in one competence area. So we have around 12 questions per competence area. You can download the proficiency level of the competence area. You have a link, and they are mostly yes, no question, and I don't know. And if you click on no, we ask you for giving some feedback. And we have also at the end some kind of data we are requesting for your identification. You don't need to give all the data if you don't want, but for us at least to know your country and the kind of organization you are belonging. And in the case that you have given feedback and you want to be referenced in our document, it's also very interesting for us to take into account and to say that you have been part of the team, also giving your feedback, because you have to invest your time also in doing this kind of activity. Another thing that we are going to start after doing all this updating of DigComp is that we were also working in developing an assessment instrument for DigComp in order to evaluate the digital competence and based on the framework. So we have done a review of the literature, but we have found around 22 instruments that are evaluating digital competence in some way. And we have found that it could be interesting to develop an instrument combining different kind of items, mostly focus on procedural knowledge. So if you know how to do something, and you need to, not to show it, but to give a reply, saying that you know how to do it, and the self-assessment, giving your own evaluation about your own competence. So we are going to develop this kind of instrument. It will be our next work, certainly, from the coming 18 months. And it will be mostly targeted to individuals with no low level of digital skills, so this 45% of population we were talking at the beginning. And in order to assess the reliability and validity of the instrument, we will do it exchanging and having feedback from different stakeholders and end user, and piloting the instrument in 3 member states. This will be finalized certainly by December 2017. It's a work that is going to be done, so we have not already started. Something interesting, it would be the different uses of DigComp. So we have seen some of them, but I think that this DigComp in the 3 years that has been published, has been used by many member states, by the European Commission, by many organizations. Indeed, it has been translated already by 14 member states, and it has found different kind of uses in education, in training and employment. In fact, you can have much more details about what I'm referring in the following link. You have an implementation where you have all the detail and you have the link about the specific implementation we are talking about. But we can see use of DigComp for policy formulation and support. So mapping other framework to support policy and different digital agenda. For example, in 2 weeks, I'm going also to a region here in Spain, Extremadura, that is implementing the digital strategy, and they would like to know more about DigComp. The Basque Country, Vaticanos, that they are going to explain. I also developed some time ago a big strategy also based on DigComp and a self-assessment instrument. The Commission itself, I use it to develop an index, a digital skills index, from which the data I give you at the beginning comes from. It's being used as institutional planning for curriculum review in order to evaluate gap analysis. For example, France region is doing it. In Spain, also to develop by INTEF, to develop the Ministry of Education, to develop education and training offers. Also Telecentre is using it in a specific instrument for skills for employment and also for assessment and certification. And I'm going to give you some more specific examples about that in order to give you an idea about how it can be implemented and how it can be useful for some of you. You can see here what I told you about the implementation in all over Europe with the translation in 14 countries, but also you can see the implementation at different levels in terms of employability, to use it to develop a policy strategy of digital competence implementation, for student assessment, for teacher professional development. For example, Europass has included the 5 competencies in the CV, in the European CV, so people is able now to do a self-assessment according to the 5 competence area we have in the competence framework. ICANOS, that they are going to explain it a little bit later, they develop a specific online instrument in order to self-evaluate your own competence together with your ICT experience and potential to develop your digital competences, and this is linked directly to develop some kind of career itinerary, etc. In the Andalusian region in Spain, they have also developed an assessment instrument linked also to DigComp. So they have used DigComp to develop the different questions. It's a battery of questions depending on your level. You can have from, I think, I don't remember, but 23 to 60 questions. And at the end, you can have a report with your level, and it's linked also to specific courses you can do for free in their different centers. The Ministry of Education of Spain, through their National Institute of Education Technologies for teachers, has also developed a framework that has used a digital competence framework in order to adapt it for teachers. And they have also connected to this competence framework, they have also developed a MOOC, and also what they call nano MOOCs, so very small, short MOOCs, in order to how to support teachers and how to teach and assess digital competence. This has also been used by other DG, like as a starting point for example, by DG EAC, we are developing, so my colleagues are working now on developing a digital competence framework for teachers based on DigComp. And also my colleague just finished, I don't think that it's going to take more time to be published, a competence framework for consumers on behalf of DigiJustice and consumers, and also based on DigComp. It has also been applied to your other fields, like, for example, the project Care Plus, use it to develop the different digital competence of carers of older people. And also the one you certainly know, Skill8 by Telecentre, much more using DigComp, much more to develop an instrument much more focused on employability of young people. So as conclusions, you have here a European reference framework for digital competence that is neutral and is totally descriptive, so it helps you as a reference to develop your own strategy, your own instrument of evaluation, to develop it in the way that is more adapted to your needs. It's been much more now linked to employability, as has been recognized in the New Skills Agenda. The use is different of the competence, so we can use different kind of technology, but it's not supposed that we have the competence that we need as citizens. We realize that we need an update because things are changing, technology is evolving, so it's why we publish DigComp in the second version. We don't need to be the best of the best in all the competence, but to have the level that we need to function in the environment we are. And we are still in development because it's being applied and being much more developed in detail in different regions. We are developing now different assessments, etc. And here again, you have the link to access to all the information. And well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for this quite detailed and informative presentation. I hope that you can hear me well.
Yeah, I hear you well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. I think let's go directly to the concrete examples to be presented by two of Telecentre Europe members. And then after that, we can have a session of questions and answers to all the speakers. So think about also what kind of questions you would like to ask or something that you would like to add. Also, if you have experience in this, if you have yourself been applying the competence framework, give some concrete examples, I invite you to do so afterwards. So I will pass the word to Grazia. And now you have also the presenters both, so you can share your screen and if you have a presentation. Grazia, can you hear me? I think she has. Can you hear me? Do you have any problems with the audio? Hello?
You just need to unmute yourself, Grazia.
Hello?
Now can you hear?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The word is yours.
Yeah. Now I would like to see the option of sharing the presentation, but I don't see it now.
Now the presentation bow is with you, so if you go to the quick start.
Yes, here we are.
You will be able to see it. Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Yep. Is that okay now?
For me, it's okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. So, hello to everybody. My name is Grazia Guermandi. I work for the Regione Emilia-Romagna in Italy. We are based in Bologna. And Today I'm going to tell you something about our inclusion project called Fun Internet. I translated here the name of the project. Fun Internet means bread and internet, and it's a project that started a few years ago. I will tell you something a little bit about the history of the project in the next slide. And for the last 3 years of activity, we received a funding for 1.2 million euro. So we are expecting to work until the end of 2017, and so this is a little idea of what we do with Fun Internet. I wanted to show you just very quickly something about our region. We have more or less 4 million and a half inhabitants, so it's quite a big region. And we still have a percentage of 34% of people who are digitally excluded. Consider that when we started our project, I'm talking here about people who are more than 6 years old. When we started our project, the percentage was in 2009 was 50%, so it was much higher, but it's still very high. And so this is, let's say, the starting point of the project of Fun Internet. So this is a brief history. I will tell you very quickly that, as I was telling before, we started in 2009. The idea was to help people in accessing the web. The problem was that we had exactly the 50% of the population outside the information world of the web, so they couldn't access information, knowledge, and services. So that's why it started with this specific idea of inclusion. Then in the years we added something, and especially we decided to improve the effectiveness of the digital literacy activities by setting up a network of digital facilitators. So we started this in 2011, and then in the last 3 years, let's say 2 years and a half, we decided to add some more objectives. One was to develop a new set of training activities, because we felt that what we had already used was a bit old. It was, when we started our activities, basically the mobile world wasn't so spread and things were different. So we needed to use a new framework for developing the digital literacy activities. The second thing was that we needed to work also with citizens who were included, but who weren't able to, use the technologies in the best way. So we started to work with this idea of promoting digital culture. And the last thing was to start to develop a network of organizations like Telecentre that could help us in developing all these activities, because it was impossible for us to do all these things directly from our office in Bologna. So we have decided, as I was telling, we have decided to use the DigComp framework in 2014. And we used it for several reasons and several purposes. First thing, it was used for updating our digital literacy courses. Our offer of training was a bit old. It was, out of fashion. It wasn't possible to use it anymore. So we had to start again and thinking in another way. So we found this framework and we thought it was useful. Then we wanted to produce educational resources which had clear categories of what they were meant for. So we wanted to have an explanation which was very clear and in some ways more defined than what we were using before. So we used the DigComp framework for producing the educational resources. Then we had all these people around in the region working for us. I'm thinking about tutors, I'm thinking about digital facilitators, administrators, teachers, citizens. All these people were talking about different things. So we found very useful to develop a common idea of the digital competence. It was also useful for developing new ideas for this new area of the project, Pane, which was the development of digital culture initiatives. I'm talking about seminars, workshops, laboratories for schools, for parents. The DigComp framework could be useful for this too. And we thought by using it, we realized that it was useful for other things too. When we reviewed our activities, our previous activities with the framework, we realized that there were some gaps that we maybe haven't thought before to the digital competence as a whole. So, for example, I'm thinking about the problem-solving area. If you organize a course which is very focused on learning a tool, you have to be aware that it's also important to teach strategies on how to solve problems. So it was useful for us to have this selection of areas and this, because we realized that sometimes our offer wasn't so complete. Then the other thing that is useful is, this organization in levels of digital competence. It was good for organizing blocks and plus, this is another thing, we liked it because it was based on the idea of the digital competence as a key competence. Okay. So now I'll try to explain a little bit what we have done, how we use the framework for developing new projects. This is a sort of path that I show you, but maybe could be different in other organizations. I heard from the previous presentation that the DigComp is not a prescriptive model, but it's a descriptive model. It is, very true. So it doesn't say where you have to go, in the sense that it doesn't say that you have to train people to all these competencies, but it gives you an idea on the digital competence, how vast it is, and you have to pick up what you need, basically. So the suggestion is to start from the needs of your target groups. You have to decide what they should learn clearly and why. In some ways, this gives you a help in identifying the first training objectives of your training activity. We have done this without the help of the DigComp. We decided by a sort of consultation with teachers, with citizens, and with people who were involved in the previous activities. Then we tried to see if the DigComp competencies could fit in our project. We realized that some competencies that were important for us were perfectly fitting the model, but some others were outside the model. So we decided in some ways what was clearly good for us. Then we assigned a level for each competence, and this is a thing that you can do very practically. You have to decide, and you can base your decisions also on the realistic, I don't know how to say, realistic boundaries that you have in your activity. For example, the number of hours of training. For our courses, we couldn't organize courses which were longer than 25 hours. So whatever we were projecting must be not more than 24 hours long. Then the number of participants is important, and all these variables. After this mapping and assigning the level, we decided to have an open consultation with content experts. We had quite a good number of teachers which were involved in our activities, and they helped us in defining the specific content and the activities that people were supposed to do for getting a result. At the end, clearly, the last part of the process was to test the training activity and ask it in real courses and ask feedback to the participants and to the teachers. Okay, now I'll give you just a very quick, some ideas about the first activity that we have done, which is the first level of digital literacy. We decided that digital literacy could be divided in two different activities. The first one is the one for people who really are not able to access internet, people who don't use a device. So the main goals of this activity is to enable citizens to use a device, to use browsers, to use the key applications, and to be in some ways a little bit more inside the web. Okay, I'm sorry because it's written in Italian, but more or less it's the same. Okay, you can see in this picture, the areas of the DigComp: information, communication, content creation, security, and problem solving. Sorry, I have to say that we use the old framework, but I see that there are some differences, but certain things are the same. So we mapped in our objectives all the level of skills that we thought it was possible to reach in our activity. So basically, as you see, we picked up some skills, and we decided the level that we wanted to reach, and we decided that it was possible for us to reach. So it was a kind of realistic negotiation between what we wanted and what it was possible to do. I have to say that in this very first digital literacy course, the DigComp framework doesn't deal with the core main competencies necessary for using a device. So we add a block 0 called first access, which is outside the framework. So this is an example on how you can use the framework for designing your activities. So here I have the second level of digital literacy. It's another course that we actually realized in our region. This is more focused on the potential of the web. It's more focused on learning through the technologies. We want to have the citizens more connected, more aware about the idea that there are communities, that there are networks. So it in some ways it gives the chance to the citizens to go inside the web really and try to take advantage for any use useful for them. Could be work, could be for whatever. Is that clear? Can you hear me? Hello?
I think it's very clear and
okay. And I wasn't hearing anything, so it's okay. Thank you very much. So, this is the second course of digital literacy that we have developed with the DigComp framework. And now you can see the progression from the first level. So where you see the yellowish, orange, the B level. So we're starting from the previous level and we added something more. We realized, for example, that what was interesting for us, it was very much in the area of information literacy. Because basically the purpose of all our inclusion activities is to enable citizens to access knowledge and information. Consider that we propose these activities in many different municipalities, and basically these activities are attended by adults and very often by people who are unemployed, but also by retired people, housewives. So we really wanted to at least enable people to be very good in accessing information. I have to say that certain areas are, clearly not more interesting, but certain areas were the core of the course. Other areas were touched. And as you can see, you can't probably in a course of 20 hours or 24 hours, do the entire DigComp framework, not even an entire level, because the competencies are many, I think 23 or something like this. So you have to decide what to do. And we also realized that after the end of these two activities, that it's possible even to think to pick up, for example, the first module, like this one, the information module, like a block, just that part, and then organize a course adding this second part, the second level of this block. So you can use either vertically the module, but also horizontally. It depends on what is more useful for you. The good thing is that you have this small bricks that you can, play with. So I think it's very good. It's useful, and for us it was a progression from the previous model, which was, I think, more based on the ECDL idea of digital competence, which wasn't bad. No, I think it was good, but at the same time it was more difficult to organize all these blocks and small parts. Okay, now I have to say something finally about the critical issues. Probably we were a bit alone in developing this project, so that's why sometimes we felt that it was difficult to solve problems. Maybe it would be better to work in a community for this thing. But I can tell you now what we found critical in using the model. First, that descriptions sometimes are a bit abstract, a bit theoretical, as compared to training practice. In the sense that when I'm a training expert, and so I was involved in deciding the objectives for our citizens, for our students. But then when I had to talk with the ICT experts, because they could tell me which were the right contents for getting that result, sometimes we were not arguing, but discussing a lot about the meaning of the words, because it's not sometimes easy to translate into practice. Then we found another problem, which was this has been solved with the new release of the model. Sometimes when one competence every competence has 3 levels. But sometimes these levels were, very small, so it was very quick and easy to pass from one level to the other one. Sometimes these levels were big, so the organization of the levels for each competence wasn't very homogeneous. It was more heterogeneous. So sometimes this was a problem. And what else? Sometimes the descriptions were very, maybe easy for us, but not for citizens. Because, for example, when I tried to organize, and we did it basically, we tried to organize all our training resources using the 5 areas of the DigComp. It's not very clear and straightforward to understand for a citizen the meaning of the definition. So that was another problem. And the last thing that I would like to say is that since it's a framework for citizens, it's very connected with the digital competence as a key competence. I think it should be good to add something like I call it here, how to use a device. Because if you don't have, even an idea of how to open a computer or a tablet or whatever, and to do the very basic ICT skills at the very beginning, it's very difficult to start to think to the other skills. So in some ways, I think this could be maybe something useful to change. Okay, I think my presentation is finished. So I don't know if you have any questions or if we can pass to the next one.
Thank you very much. I think let's pass to the last presentation because it will give another perspective on applying DigComp with another purpose to create a self-assessment tool. And then we can have questions after the final presentation. So I will give the presentation go to Roberto. And sorry, just a second.
Okay, is my turn then?
Share your screen if you want to show a presentation.
Okay. Welcome to everybody. It's okay? Everybody can hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, I hope so. Then now my intention is to explain as fast as I can the ICANOS project. As it has been said before, a important part of this project is a self-assessment tool we developed at the beginning of this project, but it's not the only one. Okay, so then just to situate the project on the Basque region, there are Basque people living in this geographical area. But the Basque government just rules over the Spanish Basque Country, these three provinces in the west of the territory. So this is the legal environment. So some years ago, following the initiative of the economical development of the department of the Basque Country, we started to think about the need of modernization of all resources we were developing about the training people and our Telecentre network as well, which is called Cafeta Gunea. And we started to think we need to organize all our content and our activities based in a competences framework instead of tools or knowledge or whatever. We thought it was important to start to talk about the competences instead of knowledge or the knowledge about tools or whatever. So our idea is to disseminate the idea of competence. You are competent doing something. And how digital competences could be acquired. So, in the framework of the digital agenda for Basque Country, we started this ICANOS project, and our idea was to adopt the DigComp framework, and in the whole Basque Country implement new ICT certifications, because we already had an old certification. And our idea was to renew completely the way to take exams and to expand ICT certifications. So the idea is to create a society competent and highly participative, which is able to use advanced and digital services, which increases its competitiveness and improves the quality of life using digital tools. So we already know about the model. We won't lose time here. The first project, there were 6 main activities in the project. So the first one was to develop this self-assessment test. If you want to take the test now, you can see here in the right upper corner a short address. If you put this address in your navigator, you can go directly to the Icanos text, to the English version. What you can see here is the digital profile, the personal competency level report you can get when you finish the test. So it's structured with the 5 areas and 21 competences we have seen until now, with the 3 levels: foundation, intermediate, and advanced. And as we make questions that can be responded with 10 different points, we can set different levels in the middle of the 3 levels of the model of the framework. So it's good because it can make more differences among the different answers to the questions. We have three kind of interaction, 3 interaction modes, and a slider with a Likert scale type of answer, yes, no, or true or false, and multiple choice questions. This is a typical question of our test. There are almost 30 questions, but many of them they have different proportions. So at the end of the test, you have to answer to 100 items. 100 items. The way we create these items was to take the descriptions of the competences in the different levels and change them into questions, adding examples or adding content to complete the questions. But we try to remain as close to the description as possible. So this is a typical question, and with 100 like this, with those models of interaction, you can complete the test. So I showed you before the personal report. The point is when the people gets the personal report, they get identified with the result. Now they say, okay, this is really my profile. So that's how happened since the beginning. There is a high identification among the people opinion about themselves and the result of the report. So when you take a lot of people doing the same test, for instance, the teachers of a school or the workers in a company, what you get is an organization profile, not just a personal profile, just the organization profile as well. This graphic you can see here is the results of 20 teachers of a primary school in Bilbao. So 20 of them took the test, and what we did was to make the average among the scores of all of them. So what we got is the proper school digital profile. We didn't thought that at the beginning when we started the project, but we found this when we started to work with the education department in Basque Country, and we found that there were many teachers of the same schools doing the same test at the same time. So if what we did was to calculate the average average scores of all of them. And then we found that those graphics and those reports were very useful for the schools directors to planify and to create courses, training courses for considering which were the result of this in this test. So it has been a very useful tool to planify the training courses for schools. This is the graphic is the average, but in the report we give the results of the results of every question of every teacher, the answer of every teacher in every one of the 21 competencies. So the point is when you see a lot of red numbers, what you can see here, that means that the most of the teachers are getting very low scores in that specific area, digital communication, for instance. Those are real numbers. At the left, you can see the profiles of the teachers, the areas they teach and the levels and their functions in the school, and we can see that they are getting very low results in this part of the test. So that means that the school and the direction of the school has to take decisions to resolve this, because they are probably they are not qualified enough in this area of the competence, the digital communication. So that was very useful to get the corporate profile, digital profile, or organizational digital profile. Very useful for the schools. So as I told you before, after taking the test, people is aware of the digital competence the concept and the model structure itself. So something that is quite difficult to explain. If you take the test before, you understand really well and really quickly where we are talking about when we talk about digital competence and these different structures. Sorry, I found the tool I was searching for. The people as well is aware of their personal strengths and weaknesses. That's very important, because usually when we talk about digital competence, people is understand that about content creation, usually content creation, but never they are aware about the importance of safety, or the importance of some other areas, maybe communication as well. So it's important to give them the complete view of the model. And organizations as well get a solid base to design a training plan. If you have the digital profiles of all your workers in a specific organization, you have a clear idea what would you have to do with the training and how to resolve and to improve the results for the future. More than 10,000 citizens have taken the test until now, and public and private teachers in public and private schools, vocational training schools, and the Telecentre networks in Spain, or maybe all of them, and teachers of Basque language in the specific schools here have already taken the test. Since an organizational point of view. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know how to continue now. Okay. So, as I told you before, more than 10,000 teachers as well as 10,000 citizens, and with this number, public schools, vocational training students and teachers, private schools as well. So now we are over 20,000 users in the different areas. So that has been all about the kernel self-assessment test. There are 5 other areas we have been working in. One of them, the orientation process, based as well in the digital profiles. When the people goes to the telecenters, they take the test, and the orientators in the telecenter, they negotiate with the users which is the profile they want to get in some time. I mean, in 5 months or in 1 year. So they draw an objective digital profile, what the people want to do after some time working and learning. So when they get this profile, they already have one direction, one objective to work with. So they create a training itinerary with the public resources they already have. And we have been working as well in the personal learning environment as a tool, and as a specific tool for the self-training in the digital competences. We are going to talk more about the personal learning environment. And at the end of this training process, the users can take the certification test, and the IT Chartela is a very important tool in Basque Country, IT Chartela. So we created a guide, a specific guide to help the orientators, how to orientate the users of telecenters. So taking account of the starting digital profiles, and after some questions and taking and using the training resources of the telecenter, how to arrive to the digital profile. What you see here is a view of the database of digital resources, digital courses the telecenters have in Basque Country. So what we did is to catalogate every course of their resources with following the DigComp structure. So a course about Google Drive has 4 main competences. I'm sorry they are in Spanish, but it's easy to understand, I think. Has main following competences, and with this course you can reach those levels. If you know very well the contents of this course, we can be sure you can reach these levels in the DigComp model. So there are more than 100 courses and different training resources that are catalogated following the DigComp structure, the different competencies they train in, and the level you can reach if you follow this specific course. This has been very useful for Basque telecenters, because using this view is easy to relate the personal digital profile, the personal digital profile you get when you make the test. You can as well to draw a specific occupation digital profile. I mean, which are the requirements of a specific job or a specific position in a company since the point of view of digital competences. So this would be the requirements, the digital profile of a specific position. In this case, an administrative officer for the digital profile. The functions at the level you have to see.
You, but I think the e-commerce project deserves for other webinar. But if you can maybe continue to summarize, and then we have time for questions because we are already.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So we can finish here with this very nice slide. The point is, people have their own digital profile, which is the level they get in the 21 competences. Jobs and occupations have the proper digital profile, which are the requirements to work in that specific position in a company, since the point of view of the 21 digital competences, and courses and training resources have the specific digital profile, in which competences you get trained if you take this specific course. So what we did is to relate these three different digital profiles, personal, occupations, and courses and training resources, and related them following the DigComp structure. And that's the end of my presentation, because there are many other things, but I think this is the most important concept of the e-commerce project is in this slide. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well, and I'm sorry to have interrupted you, but as I said, I myself was not aware that the e-commerce project had so many aspects, and it indeed deserves a separate event just for it. But yes, thank you very much. Now I would like to have some questions, but first I would like to say that at Telecentre Europe we are very interested in encouraging our members to find different ways to apply DigComp according to their needs, of course. And we also have developed a online self-assessment tool for digital readiness of young people for the job market. And most of you probably know it already, but I'm just going to quickly show you. It's called Skillage, and it's a very light version, let's say, of the Canvas tool, but it's adapted to young people's needs and language, and it's basically its purpose is to show them that even though they may be digital natives and very familiar with digital technologies, it's not guaranteed that they are aware of how to use them at the workplace. Okay, but normally I should have the share the screen button, but I don't now. So anyway, I will just send you the link, and then you can open it for yourself if you are not already familiar, which probably you are, because most of you are also members of Telecentre Europe. There was one question asked by Bastian in the beginning about the 8 levels of the new the DigComp 2.0, and if they are compatible with the EQF levels. So maybe this is a question for Stephanie, if you can clarify this.
Yes, regarding this, no, EQF, European Qualification Framework, just serve as inspiration for the keywords, as it was also, as we were aim to do also 8 proficiency levels. We look at EQF, and we saw that it could be useful as inspiration. So mostly for the level of autonomy and for some keywords, and to match it with the different verbs of the Bloom taxonomy for the learning outcomes, it was quite useful. But I think that the question is if it is, I don't know, if it is the same or equiparable of compatible. No, it was a source of inspiration.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have another question? No, everything was clear.
I just would like to clarify some points about the limitation that Grazia points about DigComp. Yes, can I?
Of course, feel free.
Okay. Yes, because she was explaining about the yes, when she was Grazia, when you was explaining a little bit about when you try to apply and to develop the different courses, etc., and you found it like very abstract for your work, and also as a way to clarify and also to help others that have not done it yet. It's true that, as I said during my presentation, the framework is serve as a description and as a reference. It's not something prescriptive or would like to tell to different organizations what they should or must do in this sense. So we try to keep the framework descriptive but also as a reference and not detail in order to support the implementation and give us too some flexibility and freedom and allow a better implementation and adaptation also to the needs of the different organizations. When it comes to the different levels also, now we have passed from 3 to 8 levels, and then maybe you can find much more detail about what we understand, and maybe also the examples can help the different organizations about how to develop or what is the meaning, what she was saying about the discussion they had when they were developing the different contents of the material. Maybe these examples in terms of knowledge, skills and attitude, and also to apply to different fields can be helpful. Regarding this, I think also the experience of you, Grazia, and I'm sure of other people here can be for us very, very useful if you can participate in the validation on that survey of the 8 levels, because you are the one that in some of you, in the case of Icanos, of Grazia, and Roberto or Grazia, and other many of you, you are working directly with the framework, and your input to see how really, when you are going to implement and you are going to use this 8 level, how you see it, and to have this interaction between your knowledge and your experience when you are applying with DigComp. That is not exactly our case, because we are not working with the people in the field, but you are the ones that are doing it. So your feedback will be very useful for us if you can participate in this validation survey. Okay, that's all.
Okay,
Sorry.
Yes, we are also encouraging our members to participate in the survey, and we send them the link to the survey. If there are no questions, no other questions, I have one question to Roberto, because your experience and your project is quite extensive, and what you are doing in the Basque country with this mapping of personal competences, then occupational requirements, and then the courses where the people lacking those skills required in the occupational requirements can be acquired. It's very interesting. Are you also planning to expand or to replicate this in other countries? I mean, this is rather a comment or suggestion than a question, because I think for many of other Telecentre Europe members could be interesting to partner with you and to develop similar projects based on your good practice.
Yeah, of course, we are open to collaborate with anyone. We have been working hard in this project, and we really would be happy if we can help to anyone to create something similar. Now, for instance, what we want to do is to make grow the test, but in the professional field. I mean, Basque country is deeply involved in the Industry 4.0 schema, and there is a strong industry here. And what we want to do now is to apply this model we have developed with teachers and the education world in our mind, and we want to extend it to the industry and to the robotics, and all these new technologies are being used in the industrial companies. So what we want to do is to extend the questionnaire and to be able to explore the digital competences that are required in the industry. Yeah?
The DigComp that you are using, because it's more targeted at citizens, and from what I'm hearing, it's rather the higher level of the spectrum of IT.
Yeah, but the third area, the content creation area, we think that can be extended to the industrial field. The programming, obviously, the programming competences gets directly into the professional field, but it's a kind of investigation. We have the research we have to do, but we are convinced that we can extend just the third area, because the rest would be the same. We can remain the same. But if we can make to grow the third area to those competences required to work in the industry, that is not so very wide field, just the Industry 4.0, robotics, and if you add the competences required for work with robotics, 3D impression with the programming area, I think it would be enough. And it wouldn't change the DigComp model so much. It's our intention.
Okay, thank you very much for this clarification. Well, since we are already 15 minutes past the promised duration of the webinar, I think that if there are no more questions, as has been stated in the chat, we can continue this discussion in Ghent with those of you who are coming. So we'll be very happy, and if any of you want also to lead a discussion on this topic during the unconference session of the conference, you are very welcome to do so, and invite your colleagues and fellow Telecentre leaders and e-facilitators to the discussion. So I would like to thank you all for your participation, especially, of course, the speakers for their presentations. Thank you very much to the two projects presented, the FANI Internet and Decanos, because your presentations were really practical and up to the point. And of course, the presentation on DigComp, but there it was inevitable to give more information on the background. And yes, so see you all in, well, not all, but most of you in Ghent, and see you also in the next webinar, I hope.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Bye. Bye.